Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It is Pastor Nick. It is Marketplace Monday. Um, I guess y'all thought I wasn't going to show up because the Bucks lost last night, but I am here. I'm actually still in my hometown of Tampa. Pastor Prane and I stayed over last night. So, anyway, I'm here. I'm not happy about the loss, but nevertheless, um, the show must go on. What we've been called to do must continue. I thought we had a good season, and again, it was a great game. So thank God I got a chance to see that. So anyway, today is Marketplace Monday. I want to thank everyone for joining. Over the next several weeks, I decided that I'm going to write a mini book. I'm going to create a mini book on communication. And actually, the title of the mini book is exactly what you guys are seeing in the show title today, The Communication Blueprint, Building Teams That Thrive. I really think it is imperative, especially in marketplace, that we talk about communication, that we dig deeper into communication individually, collectively as a team. You can use this mini book, you can use this series that we're going to do in your marriages, you can use it in your friendships, you can use it at work, you can use it with your children, you can use it with your spouse, you can use it anywhere. I think the communication is a real challenge today. And I think that as we look at the marketplace specifically, I think that if we can learn to become better communicators, it is going to raise our value. As we become better communicators, it will raise our value. One of the things I wrote down that I want to kind of read to you that as I was writing this and coming up with it, that became very clear. Write this down. It's one of the sayings from the book. But clear communication is not just a skill. Clear communication is not just a skill, it is a leadership responsibility that transforms teams and drives success. Clear communication is not just a skill, it is a leadership responsibility that transforms teams and drives success. We got to understand that when we communicate clearly, when people understand what we're saying, when we can confront people about challenges, it helps us overcome issues or get clarity quicker and allows us to get on to being more successful. Then when we let things drag out, we don't address things or we don't confront them. I want to give you guys a few stats that I looked up from some different polls. Here's one on lack of clear vision and goals. 50% of employees say that they don't clearly understand their organization's strategy. That's from Gallup. 50% of employees say they do not clearly understand their organization's goals or strategy. What does that mean? What is the impact? Organizations with highly engaged employees. In other words, employees who understand their role, understand their responsibilities in a company or achieving that goal, reports 21% of those companies are more profitable. So we see here clear communication, clear goals drives higher profitability. Um, Ineffective mechanisms for feedback. This is a big one. 65% of employees say they want more feedback, but only 28% receive meaningful feedback consistently. That's a poll. 65% of employees want to know where they're wrong. They want to know where they're missing, right? Companies that regularly provide constructive feedback experience turnover rates that are lower. 14%, Gallup says, lower turnover rates when employees understand clearly what's going on, right? Here's an interesting one. Over reliance on digital communication. 70% of employees feel overwhelmed by the volume of emails they receive daily. Give me a thumbs up if you feel at your job or even at the church, anywhere, that you feel overwhelmed with the amount or the volume of digital, whether it's text, email, digital communication that you receive. Over 26% of these same employees admit to ignoring emails altogether due to overload. So, what does this mean? What's the impact? Well, number one, poor communication in organizations is cited in Clear Company poll as one of the root causes for workplace failures in 86% of the cases. So, as you can see, just going through some of this, man, communication is very important. I know as a pastor, just talking to married people, how just couples are not communicating, couples are not talking, couples are not following up, right? So I want to give you these 5 quick points today from the book. Um, I'm going to have the book printed. It probably is going to take about a month, I think. So it'll be a little mini book that you can get. But I'm going to go through it, what's in it, and by the time we get done, we'll have them ready. So number one, in chapter one, the first thing we're going to talk about is, I'm just going to give you some kind of clip notes from it, right? Number one, clarity over chaos. Clarity over chaos. What does that mean? Well, miscommunication creates confusion. Miscommunication creates disruption in workflow, right? Miscommunication also affects morale. So we have to have clarity. We have to understand the importance of clarity, right? You have to always ensure that your message is clear, your message is concise, and your message is actionable with minimum understanding, right? I mean, minimum misunderstandings. We got to always remember that. Write that down. Your message needs to be clear. Your message needs to be concise and actionable. That's the key to good communication. And clarity over chaos. You got to get clear with your message. Don't when you're writing things, guys, when you're, ladies and gentlemen, when you're talking to your employees, or you're talking to your boss, let's say you're not a manager yet. Listen, don't get into these word salads. Don't y'all know a recent presidential candidate that lost the election because she spoke in word salads? Stop saying 30,000 things to get one point across. Bring it in, make it clear, make it concise. Go through some writing exercises where you write an email where you want to say something. You can do it to your husband, to your employer, to one of your employees. Write Write a couple of paragraphs of what you want to say to them, and then take that and just try to whittle it down smaller, to where you get it down to one sentence to convey what you were trying to say in a whole paragraph, right? So that brings me to point number two: tailor your message to your audience. Another thing we got to realize is that one size fits all communication often falls short, right? With to understand our audience, we got to understand who we're speaking to, right? We got to understand the priorities, right? We got to understand the perspective of that audience, and that ensures that our message is going to align and it's going to hit home with them, right? We got to adapt our language a little bit. We got to adapt our tone to support, right, and suit the team that you are coaching, the team that you're leading. When I speak to people in the church, it's different than when I speak to people in corporate America. When I speak to the church, or I speak to people in corporate America, it's different than when I'm communicating with my wife at a football game, right? So communication is always different. Communication is always evolving. Communication has to be tailored, right? Then that brings me to point number three. There's a thing called trust. What is the role of trust in communication, right? Clear communication builds trust. That's the thing that we need to understand. Clear communication builds trust, and trust is the foundation of collaboration and innovation. That's the thing that we need to understand. When people trust you, they're going to open up. When people trust you, they're going to talk more. When people trust you and you have a group of people that are talking to each other with trust, innovation happens, right? So how do we do that? Number one, well, that the key from the role of trust is by fostering trust, we begin to build transparency, right? And that transparency will build consistency in our messages. Why? Because everybody is on the same page. When you have trust, everybody is on the same page. Okay. Number four, hope I'm not going too fast today. Number four, action oriented communication. Write that down. Put that in the chat. That's probably the number one point from today. Action oriented communication. Write that down. Action oriented communication. What does that mean? Vague instruction. When we talk in generalities, when we're vague instruction leads to poor outcomes. That's the bottom line. Being specific ensures that everyone's on the same page. Listen, I'm getting some light fixtures done for my wife at the house. So she was trying to get an electrician to come out. And I kept hearing her explain what she wants. And she would say, so I put together an entire what's called an RFQ, a request for quote. Ask David, he can tell you, man, it's laid out exactly what she wants done, exactly what she's looking to get done. It is a communication, it is an action-oriented communication document to get a quote, right? What does it do? It ensures that nothing about what my wife wants done at the house will be vague. There's no electrician that can then say, oh, I didn't know you meant that. Oh, I didn't know. No, we got it in writing. Say this with me. If it's not in writing, it don't exist. That's another thing. So when you talk, when you're speaking and you're talking to your group and you're trying to communicate with them, don't be vague in your conversations. Why? Vague instruction leads to poor outcomes. Period. Right? So we need to replace ASAP. You know, like sometimes we'll tell somebody, hey, when you get this done ASAP, we need to replace that with concrete deadlines and actionable next steps that drive results. So in other words, if you have this whole list of things you want done, and at the end of the conversation you say, and I need this done ASAP, that's vague. No, I need this done by Tuesday at 3:00. And if for any reason by Tuesday at 3:00 it can't be done, if you know that you're going to miss the deadline on Monday, alert me as soon as possible. Be very clear about what it is that you want. And that leads me to the last one, the ripple effect of communications. We got to understand that good communication doesn't just improve the internal workplace if you're there at work, but it also will make the relationship with your company and its clients better. It'll make the relationship with your company and the stakeholders better, right? Good communication, clear communication, being concise has a ripple effect. We used to have a thing in Voxeo where, we were all about customer obsession. Everybody in the company could clearly communicate about customer obsession, right? So clear messaging at every level creates a culture of efficiency and excellence. Write that down. Clear messaging at every level creates a culture of efficiency and excellence. So, in closing, just remember this: confusion breeds chaos. Confusion breeds chaos, but clarity builds confidence. Confusion breeds chaos, and clarity builds confidence. Clarity builds trust. And lastly, clarity builds extraordinary outcomes. Those are the things we got to focus on. Confusion breeds chaos. Clarity builds confidence. So if you want to have confidence in the workplace, if you want to have confidence in marriage, if you want to have confidence with your children, learn to become a better communicator. As we communicate better, as we're more clear in how we communicate, it will make the entire world around us a much better place. Amen. Listen, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget this Wednesday morning, Wednesday with Pastor Franny. She's going to be continuing in her book, going through her book. Ladies, join, please. Share it, like it, tell a friend. I think it's something very, very helpful for the women. If the broadcast has been a benefit to you, please share, like, etc. Love you, love you, love you. Till tomorrow, Pastor Nick saying, enjoy life.